Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. This replay was sent in by Nicodemus. He's in his TVP VTU in a very tier 10 match here on Fjords. I was originally intending to save this replay for an episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, but it's just so, we'll say special. Yes, that's the word we'll use. We'll just say special and leave it at that. It's such a special result that I genuinely felt it deserved its own video. Nicodemus sent me this replay file not too long after the Czechoslovakian tanks had been introduced into World of Tanks, and he's already at the tier 8, the TVP VTU. So he's either blown a whole bunch of free experience on the Czechoslovakian medium tank line, or he's been grinding them like crazy. And I'm curious to know what he thinks of these tanks, because the tier 8's not bad. It's essentially got the German long 88 anti-tank gun, because the Czechoslovakians had hundreds of the 88mm flak anti-aircraft guns lying around after the end of the Second World War, and they pretty much did what the Germans did. They just adapted them for use in tanks. I'm also pretty sure that Nicodemus hasn't fully researched this tank yet. He almost certainly doesn't have the top engine, because this tank in this replay suffers from a very distressing lack of engine power, as is going to become very apparent at one point during the course of this replay. And check out the teams. His team have 6, more than a third of his team, 6 tier 10s. The enemy team have got 7 tier 10s. Now, just because you're in a tier 8 medium tank with no armour whatsoever in a tier 10 battle doesn't mean you're completely useless. You can always wolf pack up with the higher tier mediums on your team and support them. Unfortunately, well, there just aren't that many higher tier mediums on his team. The enemy team definitely have the medium tank advantage, particularly as far as the tier 10s are concerned. So, lacking the option to wolf pack up with a bunch of powerful medium tanks, and given that he does have a relatively decent gun and absolutely terrible armour, he elects to defend the artillery and give supporting fire from a very safe range at whatever the rest of the tanks on his team bump into. Now, sitting at the back like this does come with certain risks, because if your team are aggressive and good, you'll have nothing to shoot at for the entire match. On the other hand, if your team are not aggressive and good, pretty soon you're going to have more to shoot at than you're probably comfortable with. Nicodemus has just lost his platoon mate in the Type 62. His team are losing 3-1. It's roughly at this point where I fast forwarded things slightly. And then, suddenly, a wild Waffenträger appeared. And Nicodemus actually manages to get the kill on him. Waffenträger pushing the middle line like that. Braver man than I am. And those of you who were paying attention may have noticed we've already had our first arsehole in chat. Enemy Object 140 player lasted all of 66 seconds before he started behaving in chat like a spoiled child. But if you missed it, don't worry. It's online gaming. There'll be plenty more very soon. Now you'll notice the Jaegeru and the T110E5 falling back from the southern flank there. And Nicodemus manages to get one into this very brave AMX CDC. But the 2 tier 10s falling back has given this IS-7 the opportunity to push around, and he's accompanied by a T-34-2. Nicodemus really could not be in a better position for this. Tries to get a second shot into the IS-7, hits the T-34-2 instead, but hey, it's all damage. Artillery is about to... there it is. Did some good damage to the IS-7 and immobilised him. Now Nicodemus reloads in time to get a second shot off, assuming that the IS-7 was still going to be immobilised and wasn't going to use his repair kit, but he doesn't waste the shot, and instead he manages to get the kill on the T-34-2. Now there's a T-57 Heavy right there, and we're going to be seeing more of this T-57 Heavy driver in a moment, and he's looking for the kill on the IS-7. The team's still losing, the scores are 5-6. But no game of World of Tanks is ever going so badly that it can't get worse, and things just got, well, a lot worse. The enemy team wasted no time capitalising on their medium tank advantage, and led by the 2 tier 10 mediums, the Object 140 and the Object 430, a whole bunch of enemy tanks have crushed everything up on that northern flank, and they're sweeping down south, and they're now threatening the rear of everything left on Nicodemus's team other than him and the artillery. And he's been spotted. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. There's definitely more than one tank shooting at him there. And this is where Nicodemus soon comes to regret the terrible engine power of the stock engine on the TVP VTU. He's now completely stuck. And here comes the Object 430 with a cry of swiggity swooty, I'm coming for that artillery booty. But the artillery, just for a change, doesn't immediately suicide and does attempt to defend itself. Unfortunately, there's nothing Nicodemus can do about it. And the M53 is pretty much doomed. But before the Object 430 can capitalise on his success and finish off the M40, he gets bitch slapped right in the face by the Jaegeru all the way from over there. And then the Object 140, and remember this is the guy who was whining like a little bitch in chat 66 seconds into the start of the game, gets taken out by the Death Star, and he doesn't respond by congratulating him on a good shot well taken. Nicodemus is down, but he's not out. Here comes the Pershing, who apparently hasn't even noticed that Nicodemus is here. His gun was facing the other way. Now the Pershing's gun depression is good, but it's not quite good enough. Nicodemus, completely stuck, has managed to not only do more damage, but he's gotten himself another kill. And that's when he spots the T-32, just as enemy artillery fires and misses, and blows his tracks off, but hey, that's no problem. It's not like he can go anywhere anyway. Enemy Death Star spotted, and unfortunately at this kind of angle he just doesn't have the gun elevation to be able to take a shot at that big fat juicy target over there. The T-32 on the other hand, he has the gun elevation at this kind of angle to be able to do something, at least if that T-32 pops up again. And there he is. Snaps the shot off, takes his tracks off, immobilises him, 4 health remaining, which means that, hey, at least he's going to get 4 assistance damage. Unfortunately, the Death Star and the Jaegeru facing off against each other in the street there, there's absolutely nothing he can do to influence the outcome of this one. Sperpanzer 1C still scuttling around there somewhere on very, very low health, 72 or 73 health. Gonna be trying to go for the artillery. T-57 Heavy's taking his time getting down there to help out the Jaegeru, who just did nearly 1,200 damage to the Death Star, but that's only going to upset him. And enemy artillery's just been spotted, the Object 261. And suddenly everybody starts dying at once. But Nicodemus can shoot the Object 261. Where did he go? That probably hit him. The M40's trying to get in on the act. Both the Death Star and the Jaegeru are dead. But remember the Sperpanzer 1C? There he is. He was waiting for the M40 to fire. He's on just over 70 health. He's a one-shot kill, but there's absolutely nothing Nicodemus can do about it. There is no way the M40 is going to survive this. It looks like he attempts to suicide right at the end, but, well, with the autoloader on the Sperpanzer 1C, there is absolutely no way he was getting out of there. And the Object 261 has been finished off by the T-57 Heavy. All he has to do now is kill the Sperpanzer 1C, and there's nowhere for him to go. He cannot escape. He's stuck on this spit of land. He can't get out of there without either being detected by Nicodemus or spotted by the T-57 Heavy as he approaches from the north. And he only has 72 health, so there's no way they can lose. There he is. This little guy did not lack for guts. He's actually going to try to finish off Nicodemus here. Nicodemus does not have the gun depression. There, he's scoring hits. He scored 2 hits. Nicodemus's life must be flashing before his eyes here. It would be a real shame to die now, after doing so well, after getting stuck, but here comes the T-57 Heavy. There is no way they can lose this game. In order to win, that Sperpanzer has to ammo rack the T-57 Heavy, and then go and cap. Or, the T-57 Heavy can act like a massive douchebag for no reason whatsoever. And if there's one thing that's always true about online gaming, it's that there's always going to be massive douchebags, just like that T-57 Heavy. Why would you do that? According to this T-57 Heavy player, if you get stuck and then kill another tank and do another 1,000 damage, you need to be punished. And what's ironic is he's now stuck in exactly the same location. Except he's even worse. He manages to fall off and kills himself into the bargain. It's not often I don't know what to say when I'm doing a commentary on a YouTube video, but this is one of those occasions where, nope, sorry, I've got nothing. I just don't, I have no idea how to explain what I've just seen. Although I dare say you guys will have a couple of choice words to say in the comments. You know what's particularly ironic about all of this? Not just above and beyond the fact that the T-57 team killed him for getting stuck, and then got stuck in exactly the same place through the match, and ended up... He couldn't even get stuck properly. He fell off and ended up suiciding. Is that at the point where he decided to kill Nicodemus, tier for tier, was actually doing better than him after spending half the game stuck on a rock. Look at the scores. Top in damage done on Nicodemus's team was the Death Star, because, well, he's a Death Star. He did 6,000 damage, which probably means he fired his gun 4 times. That's just what they're like. Second on experience earned wasn't the T-57 Heavy, it was Nicodemus. And I must remind you, Nicodemus spent half of the game stuck on a rock, in a tier 8 medium, in a tier 10 match, and he wasn't driving a tier 10 heavy autoloader. And third, by far third on experience earned, the T-57 Heavy. Yeah. So, yeah, well, it's normal at this point in the proceedings for me to say that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, but I really hope you didn't enjoy the video. Please, if you enjoyed this, there's something wrong with you. I hope you were as appalled and disgusted by this video as I was. But regardless of how you felt about the video, that is it for today. And so I'll simply confine myself to saying take care, folks, have fun playing whatever you're playing, and hope you don't end up with this douchebag on your team next time you're playing World of Tanks. And I'll catch you next time.